So you're in so you went to from a Muslim family, Muslim. Now you're getting educated, traveling. Now you ended up in Prague. 70% atheist people. They call themselves post-Christian country, and now you see you have this dilemma. They have this thing that goes on, that there is a God, but Islam, maybe not it. So what happened?
Yeah, I was, again, being exposed to a society that does not have any God presence, no conversations, no practices, no mention, no worship, nothing. After a few months of living there, it started to really affect me, and I started to realize that this is a godless place. Now, I was still fascinated by Europe and the liberal values and just all the amazing things that any European nice country would provide in terms of standard of life and quality of life and social life. But at the end of the day, it kept me in a dilemma that God is not in Islam, and atheism cannot be the truth, or this way of life cannot be the truth, because it's like you're dead. You're not really alive. You have no purpose whatsoever. The Czech Republic especially is a special country because they've been both bombarded by the communist regime and the Nazi regime, so they've really saw the worst out of atheism and out of just the world wars and all that. But they are so peaceful that the revolution they had, it's called the Velvet Revolution, and that's why Prague is one of the most preserved architectural cities in Europe, because they didn't really got into war. All that to say is that I found myself in a place where I'm, I would say, agnostic, but I started to lean back to Islam because that's all I knew. So I said, okay, I don't believe in Hadith. I research Hadith. I cannot accept Hadith, so I'm going to remove Hadith. I'm going to remove and I stop listening to all the Imams, and I'm going to start creating my own understanding of Islam. So I became what you would call a Qur'ani, or someone that and just takes
only Quran Muslim.
And only Quran.
What Hadith is, and why would you reject Hadith?
Hadiths are the thousands of, I would say, quotes that are documented for the Prophet Muhammad on many incidents about different situations in life, some related to marriage, some related to inheritance, some related to war, anything you could like. You can find hundreds of sayings from Muhammad, and it's one of the biggest problems in the Islamic faith, because Muslims take it as authoritative scripture, but then you read that authoritative scripture and you realize how troubling it is. You realize how it's a defamation for the character of Muhammad. Like, if you actually respect the Prophet, you wouldn't have stories about him going and doing this with his wives in one night, or staying out and seeing someone and had to go in to handle some of his stuff and come out, and just some of the strangest stuff. So for me, I couldn't just reconcile that in my faith. I was like, this is not true. I cannot do the research where I have to filter what's authentic and what's not, because the methodology that they use to authenticate the Hadith is not reliable at all. It's all based on who said and she said, and just it's a very and they make fun of the Jewish scribes who wrote the Old Testament, which they had to go through a lot to write it with the accuracy that we have it today. That's for another topic. But so Hadith became a very uncredible section of Islam, and I said, I'm not taking that. I'm going to stick to the Quran, and I'm going to try to use the Quran as the main guide. And this is when I took an even deeper dive into the Quran, and I became just fascinated by it. I listened to it a lot. I researched it a lot. And again, the more you do that, the more you will start asking yourself a lot of questions.